Good morning, America. The secret conclave just moments away. And it's really happening. Real ID now in effect. Final moments. The Cardinals right now making their last public appearance before the secret and ancient ritual of electing the next pope begins. The extraordinary security, the vow of secrecy. This morning, inside the voting process and the Sistine Chapel. Who will become the new leader of the more than 1.3 billion Catholics around the globe? Our team is live at Vatican City.
Breaking overnight, another fighter jet lost at sea. Aviators ejected during a nighttime landing. How did another $70 million plane go overboard?
Air traffic control overhaul. The new fallout from the Newark airport chaos as we hear newly obtained audio of the confusion.
We don't have a radar, so I don't know where you are.
When controllers lost communications with flights, plus Real ID for real. Finally taking effect this morning, can you still board a flight without it?
Not for sale.
Having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
The tense exchange between Canada's new Prime Minister and President Trump in the Oval Office. Plus new reports this morning. Is the White House planning to send a military plane carrying migrants to Libya?
Brink of war. Two nuclear-armed powers exchanging fire overnight, what the U.S. is now saying.
New details about the frightening incident at Jennifer Aniston's home.
The gate is possibly bent when we come around.
What we're learning about the suspect arrested for allegedly crashing through her front gate in his social media history.
Guided by the light, we hear from the Good Samaritans who helped rescue 3 fishermen after their boat capsized off the coast of Cape Cod.
Bittersweet win. The Warriors' victory over Minnesota, but losing Steph Curry. And the Pacers at the last second.
Halliburton steps back and hits.
And what would you do if your kid orders 70,000 lollipops? Talk about a sugar rush.
Live from Times Square, it's Wednesday. Good morning, America.
Okay, dads, what would you do if your kid ordered 70,000 Dum-Dum lollipops?
It's never quite that bad, but I have a version of that almost every morning on my credit card.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Move along.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? You said it earlier, Robin. Real ID. It's really happening, everybody. The new rules are here. And Gio, he has us covered with what you need to know before your next trip and the possible air traffic control changes that are on the way.
That is coming up. We're going to begin at the Vatican. Cardinals from across the globe gathered just moments ago for their final mass before the papal enclave begins. They're going to assemble next in the Pauline Chapel for prayer, then onto the Sistine Chapel, where they'll swear an oath to uphold the mission of St. Peter if elected Pope. Then everyone's going to be looking at that chimney right there after the first ballot is cast, as we wait for the white smoke that signals a new Pope has been elected. We have team coverage, and we start with Chief International Correspondent James Longman in Vatican City. Good morning, James.
Yeah, good morning, George. Cardinals from around the world have spent the last 2 weeks very much in the public eye as the world tries to figure out who they're going to choose as Pope. Well, soon they will retreat into the beautiful mystery of conclave, and we won't know that they've chosen a new Pope until we see that famous white smoke.
This morning, more than 200 cardinals gathered for a final mass at St. Peter's.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
Before, just moments from now, 133 of them, the electors, will process into the Sistine Chapel to perform their ancient duty, electing a new pope in the sacred and secretive ritual known as the Papal Conclave. Rows of tables with place cards and voting sheets now line the more than 500-year-old chapel, and under Michelangelo's Last Judgment, they will take their solemn vow of secrecy. No phones, no computers, no televisions, completely isolated from the outside world. After the vow, we'll hear the famous words, extra omnes, everybody out.
Extra omnes.
The doors are closed and the conclave begins. New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan says the first vote could be revealing.
Now, I have to tell you, that first ballot is so significant, because then you'd see who are the leaders.
Cardinal Jean-Paul Vesco, the Archbishop of Algiers, tells me he doesn't expect a very long conclave.
If on Friday night the Pope is not elected. Yeah, it would be that something unexpected has happened.
These ancient halls will now go into effective lockdown. Jamming technology will ensure no service. The chapel and sleeping quarters swept for bugs, and the small number of assistants, housekeeping and medical staff tending to the electors have also sworn to secrecy. One of the final acts before conclave begins, the doors to the Apostolic Palace sealed with the words Conclave and 2025. This conclave will be like no other. 133 cardinals voting, 80% of them were appointed by Pope Francis. They come from every corner of the world, 71 different countries, the largest and most diverse conclave in history. Once the Pope is elected, he'll head to the Room of Tears next to the Sistine Chapel, where these white papal vestments are already waiting for him. And then the 267th Pope will emerge for the world to see.
Now, there are a few front runners, if you're to believe the bookies and the Italian press. Cardinal Parolin, who is former Secretary of State here, he's one of the front runners. Cardinal Tagle of the Philippines, he would be the first Asian Pope and a reformer in the kind of image of Francis. But the truth is, no one knows. And actually, I've been speaking to cardinals here all week. The overwhelming sense is that, you know, they are not going in with an individual in mind necessarily. And that wasn't the case back in 2005, for example, when Benedict was chosen. George?
James, so many of us have seen a version of this in the movie Conclave, but walk us through the voting process.
Yeah, so tonight we will have the first vote. It'll take place at around 6 o'clock here. We don't know exactly when. That's midday Eastern. We'll be right here covering it. That should we'll have about an hour until we see smoke. Again, probably black smoke, but again, we don't know. That will give the cardinals a chance to kind of get to know. It's the first chance, real chance they have. Who among them might have a real chance to be Pope? They will then retire for the night to contemplate those names, and then over the coming days, they will whittle that list down to some front runners. There'll be 2 votes in the morning, 2 votes in the afternoon, and we'll be waiting for that famous white smoke. George.
James Longman, thanks, Michael.
As James said, no one knows. That's right. And let's go to Maggie Rulli at St. Peter's Square, where the faithful are gathering. Good morning, Maggie.
Hey, Michael, good morning. You can already feel the anticipation here in Vatican City. You know, hundreds gathered for Mass behind me just this morning. Now, even larger crowds are starting to gather. As one woman told me, she said she was tired this morning. Not anymore. Being here, you're just filled with energy and hope. So guys, when that white smoke comes out of the chimney on top of the Sistine Chapel, that's when we can anticipate thousands of people running down this street. They're going to come this way, heading towards St. Peter's Square. We expect it to be filled to absolute capacity. 250,000 people, with even more spilling into the side streets. Another 5,000 in police and volunteers are here on the ground right now. You know, we've met so many American Catholics who are here. They tell us they want to stand side by side with the faithful. But guys, it's not just Catholics. We've also met Americans that aren't Catholic. One couple from Florida told me they were just here on vacation. Now they're here to witness history. They said seeing that chimney of the Sistine Chapel gave them butterflies. Guys,
you can understand that feeling, right? Thank you, Maggie, for that. We're going to have full team coverage of the start of the conclave later this morning around 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on ABC. Robin.
Okay, Michael, but now to breaking news overnight. A U.S. Navy fighter jet lost at sea from the aircraft carrier USS Truman. The aviators had to eject during a nighttime landing on the deck of the carrier. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the latest. And Mary, we know this comes after a $70 million fighter jet went overboard in the Red Sea, just last week, Mary.
Yeah, Robin, it is hard to believe, but another Navy fighter jet has sunk to the bottom of the Red Sea. It is the second stunning and expensive mishap in just over a week. Now, this time, an FA-18 fighter jet was attempting a nighttime landing onto the deck of the USS Harry S. Truman when the crew was unable to stop it in time. The roughly $70 million jet going overboard and sinking. A U.S. official says it's not clear why the fighter jet was unable to stop. The 2 pilots, though, were able to eject. Officials say they were rescued by helicopter and appear to have suffered only minor injuries. Now, it comes after last week another FA-18 fell off the same carrier into the Red Sea as it was being towed out of the hangar, and the crew lost control. They are just the latest incidents involving U.S. carriers. Back in 2022, this video from a naval investigation shows the moment an F-35 crashed upon landing on the USS Carl Vinson, that fireball erupting, the jet sliding off the carrier and into the South China Sea. George.
Okay, Mary, we're going to stay at the White House with the latest from President Trump. He met with the new Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, who pushed back against the president's attacks on Canada, drawing a more muted response from Trump. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is at the White House. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. Relations between the U.S. and Canada have reached a low point amid the administration's ongoing trade war. But the president was not shy about making it clear he wants Canada to become the 51st state, something Canada's prime minister quickly rejected.
Sitting side by side in the Oval Office, Canada's new Liberal Prime Minister Mark Carney telling President Trump Canada is not for sale.
As you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale. Ever.
For months, President Trump has pushed to make Canada America's 51st state. Carney saying that will never happen.
Never say never. Never say never.
Reporters pressing.
Canadians don't want it. Would you respect that?
Sure, I would. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time they have to make that decision. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. Respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st state.
Carney won his election just last week in a race that was dominated by concerns about President Trump's rhetoric and his ongoing trade war. The Trump administration has imposed a 25% tariff on many Canadian goods. Canada responding with tariffs of their own on more than $40 billion of U.S. goods, from some produce to whiskey.
Is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No.
Why not?
Just the way it is.
The president standing by his trade war.
Everyone says, when are you going to sign deals? We don't have to sign deals.
For weeks, he's insisted negotiations are making progress, repeatedly claiming that talks with China are well underway.
Are you talking to them actively now?
Actively. Everything's active.
But on Capitol Hill, his Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent telling lawmakers that hasn't happened.
China, we have not engaged in negotiations with as of yet.
So Chinese officials say they will be meeting with the Trump administration in Switzerland later this week. In a new statement, they said that if we fight to the end. But if we negotiate, the door is open, George.
And Rachel, there's some new reports saying that the Trump administration is looking to deport migrants to Libya.
Mm-hmm. Yes, George, and we know that the Trump administration had been looking into other countries in addition to El Salvador to send migrants to. But now reports this morning that the Trump administration, as early as this week, could use a military plane to deport migrants to Libya. Of course, this is a country that's facing its own turmoil and conflict, but this would mark a major escalation in the president's mass deportation plans, George.
Rachel Scott, thanks very much, Michael.
All right, thank you, George. Now to rising tensions between India and Pakistan. India firing missiles at Pakistan after a terrorist attack that India claims originated from Pakistani territory. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, has the latest. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Michael. These two nuclear-armed nations exchanging fire overnight and again this morning amid fears this could spiral out of control. India firing missiles into Pakistan, striking 9 targets. Pakistan saying 26 people have been killed, over 40 others wounded, calling it an act of war, saying its military has been authorized to respond. India insisting its attack was measured, non-escalatory, and that no military facilities were hit, just what it calls terrorist infrastructure. India's strikes, though, coming in response to that deadly attack on tourists in Indian-controlled Kashmir last month that left more than 24 people dead. India blaming Pakistan militants, but Pakistan now saying it shot down 5 India fighter jets overnight and hit military targets, that no evidence has been produced. It is a highly volatile situation, dangerous for both sides. China and the US both urging restraint. Robin?
Tense times indeed. Ian, thank you. Now to the latest at Newark Airport, hundreds of more flights delayed or canceled as we hear new frantic air traffic control audio when controllers lost contact with planes. A system overhaul could be on the way. And all this comes as the Real ID finally takes effect this morning. Our transportation correspondent, Gio Benitez, is at Newark Airport tracking it all for us. Good morning to you, Gio.
Hey, Robin, good morning. Yeah, Newark Airport here still has the most cancellations in the world right now, and this may go on for weeks. And like you said, Robin, that major Real ID change starting today. This morning, hundreds of flights canceled as the travel nightmare which began at Newark Airport ripples across the country. At the heart of it, an outdated air traffic control system that the administration is looking to fix.
We need to build a brand new air traffic control system.
Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy set to lay out his overhaul of the nation's air traffic control system, desperately needed after decades of neglect.
These facilities have to operate as we're building new radar, fiber, radios, sensors.
This after a major outage last week cut off communication and radar between air traffic controllers and airplanes around Newark Airport for 60 to 90 seconds. In newly obtained audio, you can hear that confusion. Pilots trying to make contact met by silence. And even when air traffic controllers were finally able to reach various planes, they were still unable to locate them.
We don't have a radar, so I don't know where you are.
And we now know it's not the first time. Similar radar and communication outages happening once a month from August to December at Newark. Radio communications alone also going down at least 8 times. It all comes as another big change hits airports. Real ID now in effect. Hours-long lines from coast to coast ahead of today's launch.
This is my 3rd attempt. Twice I was turned away after a 3-hour wait.
Our Alex Perez outside Chicago's Real ID Supercenter on Tuesday.
For weeks now, this is what the line here has looked like, blocks long, as some getting in line at 4 a.m., hours before the facility even opens.
Travelers were told that starting today, a Real ID compliant driver's license or a sufficient alternative like a passport is needed to fly domestically. But Tuesday, Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem clarifying, saying if you don't have a Real ID yet, you can still fly for now.
If it's not compliant, they may be diverted to a different line, have an extra step, but people will be allowed to fly.
Okay, so here at Newark Airport right now, they aren't separating people without that Real ID just yet into a separate line. They're just keeping them in the same line and putting them through an extra screening process. So right now, I got to tell you, it's been pretty smooth, but you can see there's not a whole lot of travelers right now this morning. Later on in the day, as those travelers start to pick up at airports across the country, that's when we may see issues. So just give yourself some time. Another tip here, just travel with your passport, no matter where you're going. If you're traveling domestically or internationally, just bring this with you. This is going to save you some time if you don't have that Real ID. And also, if you have that AAA membership, try to use that because you can actually call their offices, schedule an appointment, and in some states, you can actually get your Real ID right there at the AAA office. So just bring that passport.
Yeah, wow. Good advice there.
Yeah. Great advice, Gio.
Thank you, Gio. Coming up, Matt Gutman on key testimony in the Karen Reed murder retrial. Hey, Matt.
Hey, George, that key testimony revealing the 52 calls, the 8 voicemails, the angry text that Karen Reed left her boyfriend in the hours before she found him dead, and what a first responder testified they heard Reed say at the scene. All that's coming up.
All right, Matt, and what we're learning about the gatecrasher at Jennifer Aniston's home and his social media history.
Also, we're going to hear from the Good Samaritans who rescued fishermen after their boat overturned.
Coming up, the best Mother's Day sales happening right now, and you still have a few days.
Back here on GMA, you're looking live at Vatican City. 133 cardinals will go to the Sistine Chapel where they will take the oath of absolute and perpetual secrecy. Then the doors will close and the conclave begins. We have more on the election of the new Pope coming up.
First new at 7:30, a 12-story condominium was evacuated in Clearwater, Florida over fears of a structural collapse after a support column began splitting during construction. About 60 people were forced from their homes. Also, Weight Watchers is filing for bankruptcy. The weight loss pioneer has struggled to keep up with the new weight loss drugs. It's also been hurt by competition from free fitness apps and advice from social media influencers. The company says the move won't affect members.
And it was a bittersweet night for the Golden State Warriors. They were on the road in Minnesota and beat the Timberwolves in the series opener, but Steph Curry injured his hamstring after playing only 13 minutes. He limped off the court and did not return. Curry will get an MRI today. And Warriors coach Steve Kerr said it's hard to imagine that he would play on Thursday. In the early game, all came down to this wild sequence in the final seconds. Tyrese Halliburton grabbing a rebound, a little dribble, shake and bake, boop, stop, drop back for the 3, knocks it down, and that is the game-winning shot. The Pacers stealing a second game on the road in Cleveland. These games so far in this round have been all the underdogs are winning. It's fun to watch.
Makes it exciting. All right. Now we have new details this morning about the security scare for Jennifer Aniston when a driver crashed a car through her front gate. Police revealed the name of the man behind the wheel as we learn more about the investigation. Trevor Ault joins us now from Los Angeles. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, Robin. We're starting to get some clarity on this scary incident. That man plowing through the gate while Jennifer Aniston was home. Police now revealing his identity, and what he was posting on social media may be a window into his state of mind.
This morning, new details about the frightening incident at the Los Angeles home of superstar Jennifer Aniston.
The gate is possibly bent when we come around.
Police have booked Jimmy Wayne Carwile for felony vandalism for allegedly crashing his vehicle through Aniston's front gate.
The suspect, the male white, is on the ground out of the vehicle. The suspect that drove the vehicle through the front gate.
The crash happened around noon Monday. Aniston was home at the time. Private security holding the suspect, police soon swarming the home. Carwile's now being held without bond. Officials telling ABC News the 48-year-old's exact charges will be decided in the coming days as they believe the crash happened on purpose. The suspect has written at length about Aniston on social media in posts going back at least a year. Aniston is one of the biggest stars in the world.
What has something to do with transponding? Oh, he's a transfonster! That's not even a word!
Security experts say for celebrities of this stature, round-the-clock protection is essential.
They did what they were supposed to do. They prevented the person getting to the client. Hopefully they're looking at that intel, they're liaising with the police, and they're working out whether this is a likely threat to happen again.
And we should learn more about this suspect and the official charges later today as he's scheduled to make his first court appearance. Guys.
Okay, Trevor, thanks. We're turning now to Karen Reid trial and key testimony revealing voicemail messages left for the victim in the hours after. Prosecutors say she hit him with her car, left him to die in the snow. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman is tracking the case. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. Again, the prosecution is using Karen Reid's own words and interviews against her. And what they wanted to show the jury was her state of mind the night she allegedly rammed her Boston police officer boyfriend with her SUV. Dozens of frenzied calls, profane voicemails, and angry texts in between. The prosecution wanted the jury to hear Karen Reid the night she allegedly rammed her SUV into her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, in her own words.
You're a loser. Yourself.
Playing 8 voicemails from Reid to O'Keefe in the hours before he was pronounced dead during a blizzard in January 2022. Massachusetts State Police Trooper Nicholas Garino testifying that Reid called O'Keefe 52 times between 12:33 a.m. and 6:03 a.m., firing off angry texts between those calls.
I'm with your niece and nephew, you pervert.
Reid made the calls after she had dropped O'Keefe off for an after-hours get-together at this house at Fairview Road in Canton, Massachusetts. The 8th and final voicemail left on O'Keefe's phone shortly after 6 a.m. lasted several minutes, picking up Reid's frantic scream and the 911 call made by O'Keefe's friend Jennifer McCabe after Reid discovered O'Keefe's body in the snow. When I spoke with Reid in 2023, I asked her about those voicemails and messages.
Would you say that you were angry with John that night?
Yes.
Could you have been angry enough and slightly drunk because he had annoyed you that in the fit of rage you just backed up?
Never.
Also taking the stand, Canton Police Lieutenant Paul Gallagher, Reid's lawyers asking him why he used red Solo cups inside a Stop and Shop bag to store blood evidence from the scene.
The same kind of Solo cups that we all see at backyard barbecues.
Yep, they hold liquid terrifically.
They're also not sealed, correct?
They are not.
And first responder Katie McLaughlin swearing under oath that she heard Reid say she hit O'Keefe. And on cross-examination, the defense challenging the witness's credibility.
What did she say?
I asked if there had been any significant trauma that happened that preceded this. And she answered with a series of statements that she repeated. I hit him. I hit him.
And in those voicemails that we just heard, you can hear Reid accuse O'Keefe of cheating on him. Now, there's no evidence that he ever did. And in court, she was expressionless as those voicemails were played. The defense says the voicemails are actually not damning. They say the anger and the frantic tone show that Reid had no idea what had really happened to John O'Keefe. Guys.
Wow. In case of something we know, Matt, you're going to cover that for us and keep us informed. Thank you. And now to the rescue of 3 fishermen after their boat capsized off the coast of Massachusetts, and it was all caught on camera. Well, this morning we're hearing from the Good Samaritans who saved them, and Eva Pilgrim has the story. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Michael. These fishermen say they were going in reverse when they lost control of their boat. It started taking on water, and then it flipped over, leaving them hanging on, balancing, trying to stay above the water, praying someone would find them in the dark. Thankfully, someone did.
This morning, dramatic video showing the moment 3 fishermen were rescued by Good Samaritans after their boat capsized off the coast of Massachusetts. Watch as the men grab onto the approaching boat and quickly jump inside to safety. It was dark, 10 p.m. Monday night, when the fishermen called 911 for help.
We've heard capsized boat off of Squaw Island.
Be advised, there's 3 people. Coast Guard notified.
And as we got closer, we threw out a rope to them.
Philip Tran and 2 friends just happened to be fishing nearby for squid when he says they noticed a light shining off in the distance.
All we seen was that shining light that was like still working underwater somehow. That's what saved them.
Tran spotting the 3 men clinging to the hull of their boat. You can see the boat just barely above the water.
They were like, definitely, we thought we were gonna die out here.
Boats from the fire department quickly arriving to help bring the men back to shore. All of them uninjured.
They were cold, they were wet, and I'm sure they were very relieved to get rescued.
And a really, really lucky situation, because the fire chief telling us it was also incredibly foggy, which made visibility very limited, especially in the dark. But it wouldn't have been for the lights on the boat underwater and that guy seeing it.
That's how they were able to see it.
That's how he found them.
Wow.
Wow. All right, Eva. Thank you for that.
Now, with the best Mother's Day sales happening right now, you still have a few days left to get something special for the mom or mom figure in your life. Becky Worley has the details for us and how the tariffs could be impacting gift giving this year. Good morning, Becky, and happy early Mother's Day to you.
Thank you, Robin. Buying for mom is not easy, especially right now when things are not exactly normal with the economy. Many retailers have scrambled to onshore products from overseas. That inventory is precious right now, so I don't see a lot of aggressive discounts, but a few sales. Target has 30% off of cozy PJs for mom. CVS has a sale on same-day printing for photo books that are 50% off with a code. And AirPods Pro at Target, Walmart, and Amazon, they were $249 normally. Now they're $169. This is the modern mother's version of Calgon, Take Me Away. Sorry, I've got noise-canceling headphones in.
That's funny, Becky. How about flowers and jewelry?
Yeah, those are classics. But jewelry, the price of gold up 46% from last year, and silver is up 20%. But Macy's has a big jewelry sale where I found a strand of pearls that was $700 marked down to $245. And flower prices are surprising because while many come from South America, I priced roses back in January and then again today. Not too much change for the online florists. But heads up, that deadline to order is coming fast, guys, like now fast.
Yeah, make sure you get on it. But Becky, what if someone wants to go really big? You want to buy mom a car for Mother's Day. Is it the right time now to do it, or are the tariffs affecting those prices too?
You really love your mom, and as
I
a mom
do,
myself,
I
I can officially say we would prefer a car for Mother's Day rather than a papier-mâché rock or brunch, perhaps. But many experts predict new car prices could increase specifically by the end of May. Used car prices have already started to creep up. But one great gift idea for mom would be to do some maintenance on her car. The cost of repairs expected to skyrocket this year, so helping her out with those little things like oil and wiper blades and tires could be lovely.
Aww.
And you said your mom just wanted to make new memories.
That's right. She would just say, just make me a new memory. Just make a new memory with me. That was all the gift that she wanted. Thank you, Becky, as always.
Yes. Now with our play of the day and the children's storybook come to life.
Yeah.
Larry, you got
it really has. Get ready, everybody, to crack a smile. Yeah, I said it. That's because the famous children's book Make Way for Ducklings has basically come to life. Only instead of Boston, it's here in New York City, and it was geese doing the marching. Our thanks to our friend and former colleague Jeffrey Schneider, who was driving into the Holland Tunnel. He spotted this family of geese trying to cross the road. There's police officer Ray Linez he jumped into action, stepped up, stopped traffic, herding this family of geese off the road to safety. He sent us a message about that good deed.
I know we live in such a busy area and we're always in a rush. So just know and be aware that these things could happen. Like wildlife could be on the road and not even even worse, pedestrians. So just take it easy. Slow down.
Yeah, take a second, everybody. He also told us that his 4-year-old son was so happy to know that this is what dad gets to do at work, at least sometimes, little guy. And the funniest thing was Jeffrey Schneider said that he was on his way to a baby shower and his gift was actually Make Way for Ducklings. The book was on the front seat of his car when he witnessed this. So meant to be.
Why did the geese cross the road? I don't know
I want
either.
to know what they did once they crossed it.
He herded them into this parking lot where I guess they like to gaggle, as geese do. There's this parking lot over there, yeah.
Okay.
A gaggle of geese.
I know. I just love how they were
hanging out in the parking lot.
Yeah,
taking the sweet
that's
time
what they
getting
do.
there.
Yeah.
They're tailgating.
All right, guys. Bob Odenkirk was just nominated for a Tony.
Yes.
So Gary Glenn Ross on Broadway. He's here live in Times Square. So come on back.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Cardinals make their last public appearance this morning before electing the next pope. 133 voting Cardinals from every corner of the world will enter the Sistine Chapel under extraordinary security measures, take their vow of secrecy. This morning, inside the voting process, our team live at Vatican City.
Raising the white flag for mental health help.
The fact that I can go on my phone and just, talk to someone and say, hey, I'm struggling really hard today.
The app, connecting people across the country, dealing with similar struggles, helping and healing each other.
Sticky situation. An 8-year-old boy accidentally ordering 70,000 lollipops. And wait until you hear what they're planning to do with all the candy.
And the force is strong this morning. Benjamin Bratt is joining the Star Wars universe as we say Good Morning America.
Live from Times Square, it's Wednesday. Good Morning America.
We love that music, and we're looking forward to catching up with Benjamin Bratt, who's joined the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Good morning, America.
Look forward to that. And Mother's Day is around the corner, so Tori Johnson is here to help us spotlight some moms with incredible businesses on deals and steals.
We always look forward to that, but first we have a look at the top stories that are breaking at 8, starting with more on the conclave to elect the next pope. Let's go back to Chief International Correspondent James Longman there in Vatican City for us. Good morning again, James.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. Conclave has begun, one of the most ancient, mysterious rituals in the world. 133 cardinal electors are now in the Sistine Chapel, choosing the 267th Pope. We last saw them earlier this morning at St. Peter's Basilica. That was more than 200 of all of the cardinals. They celebrated Mass, a final time for reflection before they all went into the Sistine Chapel. The 133 security is very, very tight because all of this has to take place completely behind closed doors, utter secrecy. So that means no computers, no internet, no TV, no radio, nothing. And they have to take a vow of secrecy too. We heard them say extra omnes, everybody out, and then we saw those cardinals get locked in. That's literally what it means, conclave with key. So the voting is underway. We will have likely not a pope today, but they will give us a result at some time tonight. We might see smoke at around 7 o'clock, black smoke, since we haven't yet got a winner. Then they will continue the voting. 2 votes in the morning, 2 votes in the evening, until eventually we do see white smoke sometime, perhaps in the next few days, and we'll know we have a new pope. George.
James Longman, thanks. We're going to turn now to Sean Diddy comes back in court for another day of jury selection. Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katersky is at the court. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, George. Expect the jury to be seated as soon as today to hear the evidence against Sean Combs, and it hasn't exactly been easy. One potential juror was dismissed after he told the judge it would be hard for him to stop smoking marijuana. A man with daughters who called the allegations troubling was dismissed after the defense said he came to court with an agenda. Admittedly nervous when jury selection began, Combs has been pretty attentive, eyeing those who might decide whether he's guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking charges that could send him to prison for decades. When a woman was asked if she knew any of the celebrities who might come up at trial, Combs smiled when she answered, "I wish I did." And he appeared to exchange a nod with a man questioned about his interactions with police. At the defense table, though, in a dress shirt, crewneck sweater, and graying hair, Combs cuts a much less imposing figure than the polished and powerful hip-hop impresario and music mogul who once ruled hip-hop and who prosecutors say led a criminal enterprise that led these coercive sex and drug-fueled parties known as freak-offs. Combs says all of the sex was consensual. And Michael, all of the qualified jurors here must be able to say they can be fair and impartial and keep an open mind. Michael?
Yeah, the important part about being on the jury there, Aaron. Thank you so much for that. We're going to turn now to a story with a sweet ending. A second grader in Kentucky accidentally ordered more than 70,000 Dum-Dum lollipops on Amazon. Leah's mom, Holly, said her son spent $4,000 while playing with her phone. Amazon told her to reject the delivery, but despite tracking it, 22 boxes showed up. She did manage to reject the remaining 8 boxes, but that still left them with all those lollipops. And Holly's community, they stepped up. Banks and doctors' offices buying the boxes, and some were also donated, which is a good thing. And Amazon eventually agreed to refund the full amount, saying they're glad they were able to, quote, turn a sticky situation into something sweet.
That was a great ending. That was a great ending. Love that. Thank you, Michael. Coming up on our GMA Morning Menu, how smartphone apps are helping connect people seeking mental health help. We hear from some people who've gotten help and have given it, too.
Also had Tony nominee George Clooney breaking records on Broadway and giving back as well.
Plus, we're celebrating moms with deals in steel. Tori Johnson is here with products starting at less than $10. And Lara's with 2 special guests. Hey, Lara.
Yeah, Michael, lucky me. Bob Odenkirk is here. He's starring on Broadway just across the street. And Benjamin Brad is also with us. He's in the new season of Disney Plus's Andor. We're going to talk to both of these guys about their exciting new projects and much more coming up on GMA.
And welcome back on Friday. Big day for us here at GMA. We are looking forward to surprising a deserving mom with a special breakfast in bed event. Right now, though, we're going to have some pop news.
That is always one of our favorite days. Looking forward to that. But this morning, we talked George Clooney, everybody. He is breaking his own Broadway record. Good night and good luck. The play about Edward R. Murrow that Clooney co-wrote and stars in is making Broadway history with the highest grossing single week for a play ever, raking in over $4 million over the course of just 8 performances. The first non-musical in history to achieve this milestone. The play also just received 5 Tony nominations, including Best Actor in a Play for George. And the production is also giving back, announcing that 2,000 tickets are being given to New York City public school students with a focus on kids studying journalism. Love
great.
that. Congratulations to you, George Clooney. Cannot wait to see it. I know you did.
It was great.
Said it was fantastic. Hey, also this morning, Practical Magic 2 is finally and officially headed to a theater near you. Warner Brothers has taken to social media this morning with a little teaser. Take a look.
Tooth of wolf and morning dew. Something old and something new. Let the spell begin to mix. September 18th, 2026.
You recognize those voices? The studio confirming that those gals, the original stars Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, will be back for the sequel to the 1998 hit. They are also set to serve as producers. Warner Brothers writing in the caption, "The spell is cast. The date is set. Only in theaters September 18th, 2026. In the original, Bullock and Kidman play orphan sisters Sally and Jillian. They were raised by their eccentric and witchy aunts in Massachusetts. Those aunts played by the great Diane Wiest and Stockard Channing. Together they have to contend with a curse that keeps them from finding love. Will they? We'll find out now. when the sequel comes to theaters. Looking forward to that. Love those two women. Hopefully we'll see them right here. And also in the news, Paul McCartney proving once again he gets a little help, or he gets by with a little help from his friends, I should say. McCartney recruiting some of his friends and an A-list cast for an adaptation of his 2005 children's book, High in the Clouds. Celine Dion, Ringo Starr, Hannah Waddingham, Lionel Richie, Idris Elba. Wow. I'm tired already. They've all signed on, and the team that wrote Paddington 2 is also on board to write the script. It's a story of a teenage squirrel named Whirl, who embarks on an extraordinary journey to set music free after a bossy diva owl bans music from his town. High in the Clouds is set to hit theaters 2027. There you go. Very creative.
Very creative.
The man can write. And then finally, everybody, in pop news, we love a college graduation that's also a family affair. Meet Sam Cooper and his mom, Christy. There they are, walking the stage together during commencement at Grand Valley State University in Michigan. Sam completing his bachelor's, mom earning her 4th degree. It's a master's in public health. Sam says his mom moved mountains so that he could pursue his educational dream. He loved having her as his classmate. They even studied together for the finals. Sam says he'd love to get a master's sometime in the future, but maybe not 4 degrees. He'll leave that to mom.
Setting a great example.
Yeah,
really.
That's great. Happy Mother's Day to you, Christy.
Had to be very special for them both.
Absolutely. It's special for us to see it.
Are you all ready for this? Whatever you're doing, stop right now, because we have a brand new announcement from our parent company, Disney. A whole new world is being revealed, and it's in Abu Dhabi, where Rebecca Jarvis is for us this morning. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, Robin. Yes, this is very, very exciting. I am standing here on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, where Disney's 7th global theme park will be built, and I sat down with our CEO, Bob Iger, to talk about this whole new world.
I'm excited for the UAE and Abu Dhabi. Bringing a Disneyland to a land in the world is, I think, a big deal, and it makes a big statement, and it's just a great moment.
A new chapter of Disney storytelling begins. Rewriting a land known for its architecture, culture, coastlines, and desert. The Walt Disney Company chair and CEO Bob Iger says there's already excitement brewing here in Abu Dhabi.
You start thinking about what is possible, actually envisioning a castle rising up, in this case, from the sand, and also being on the water.
I heard you say castle, so you're confirming there's going to be a castle, Bob.
Yes, I'm confirming that, but we've decided that we want to build a very modern Disneyland. It will obviously incorporate a lot of our intellectual property and some of the typical stories that we tell in our theme parks.
So this is the rendering we have.
I'm smiling because it makes me smile. Yes, so that rendering depicts the land on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. We haven't decided everything that will go into it, but we do know it will be anchored by a castle. And again, the modernization that is Abu Dhabi, the castle will be the first real modern castle that we built.
And this is it, the start of a brand new park here in Abu Dhabi. I am standing 8,400 miles away from Anaheim, California, the site of the very first Disneyland that opened in 1955. Why here in Abu Dhabi?
The UAE and Abu Dhabi is a crossroads of the world. This is a hub in many respects, but also because it is located where it is, it's accessible to so many different regions, places where we typically have, only scratched the surface in terms of attendance to our parks.
With 6 theme parks across 4 countries around the globe, Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates will soon become lucky number 7. This project has been simmering since 2017, but crystallized after Iger's visit to the region last year, when he found there was already a lot of excitement surrounding Disney.
This is a place that has a very ambitious and very exciting vision for its future. So this will give us an opportunity to build something of very, very high quality, as evidenced by so much of what's already been built here, but also the most technologically advanced theme park that we've ever built.
Disney partnering with Miral, the operators of world-class immersive experiences and attractions in Abu Dhabi. Miral will oversee the development and building of Disney's resort.
The minute you drive into Abu Dhabi, you see your signs all along the side of the freeway.
Miral, joy. Tell me a little about your company and what you aim to do with Disney.
Our company is based on creating smiles. We're here to create happiness. And this is what Disney is all about. What I truly love about Disney is that it engulfs you in their magic. You know, I'm passionate that we are here building something that is for the next generation. It's a legacy piece. We are a part of something great.
And this is not the Miral chairman's first encounter with Disney. His earliest experience was as a child, asking his mother to go to Disney World in Orlando.
One day, it was a Thursday night, and she walked in and she said, "Everybody, pack your bags. We're leaving tomorrow." I said, "Where are we going?" And she goes, "We're going to Disney World." It was around 9 o'clock at night, and the room lit up.
Now he aims to bring that same spirit and excitement to millions here. What is the timeline for this project? Is there a timeline?
Yes, there is. As fast as possible. You know, I think it's imperative for us to bring these new experiences to the region and the world. And of course, we're not going to compromise on quality. We're going to make sure that what we built here in Abu Dhabi is going to be special, and it's going to create everlasting smiles and memories for every visitor to come here.
Iger saying he loves that people have high expectations of Disney.
They're always asking, what will Disney think of next? Only Disney could think of that. And actually, we set the bar high for ourselves, too. How can we be not just different, but different and better? And in many respects, that's what that is.
And what comes next puts a smile on Iger's face today.
Looking forward to being invited to the opening.
Oh, likewise. I'm going to see you in the castle. And in addition to that brand new castle, the vision for all of this is a brand new kind of Disney park, things that people have never experienced before. I also asked Bob Iger what this means for jobs back in the United States, and he said it will take a lot of U.S. employees, their creativity, to bring all of this to life. In fact, they've already begun hiring some of them, and that's in addition to Disney's $30 billion plans at U.S. parks to build those out, and that means thousands of new jobs for Disney as well, guys.
Yeah, major project there. So just give us a feel on the ground there, the reaction to all this news, Rebecca.
There is so much excitement, and I got to tell you, I smiled to myself because the first night we got here, I go up in the elevator knowing what's coming, and I rode up in the elevator with a little boy who is wearing Disney, head to toe Disney with his parents, and I thought to myself, someday when he visits here with his family, he'll actually be able to go see Disney here with his family. And the reality is it's beautiful. I mean, you can see it all behind me, but there's already so much developing here. They have a Louvre, they have Ferrari World, there's the Grand Prix, the F1 is here, so there's a lot of activity already happening, and this is just, it's a very exciting moment. You can feel it on the ground here, and the excitement to partner with this iconic U.S. brand is a really big deal for the region as well as for Disney.
Well, good job of keeping it top secret. We didn't even know. They wouldn't even let us know what was going on. So good job there, Rebecca, and safe travel.
You know, you can tell me anything, Robin.
Yep. She's a vault.
Yeah. Oh, safe travels back home, my friend. Yep. Take care.
Great news for the jobs, too.
That is for the jobs. Michael.
All right, Robin, I'm here with Tori. We got day 2 of the special deals and steals with incredible moms and their businesses all week long. And you know, these are incredible business. And as I said, they're all moms who run it, and we love it. So we're going to get right to it, Tori. What we got?
Michael, we're starting with Credo, leader for a decade in clean beauty. You know what women want, and that's hydration.
Our girl Annie's got us. What we got, Annie?
Yes, we've got hydration products for face and for body. We'll talk about our Credo Seascape Body Serum. It's a gorgeous, rich but lightweight serum. It's in a beautiful marine citrus scent, clinically proven to provide 24-hour hydration so your skin, Michael, will be soft and supple morning till night.
Smells so good. Annie brought an entire assortment from Credo, all 50% off plus free shipping. We cannot beat that. We can't beat that.
There we go.
All right. Third Love solves our problems.
That's right. I created Third Love to really help women find the perfect everyday bra. So from wired to wireless, we have over 60 sizes, including half cup. So if you've ever been one of those super tricky fits, we have you covered. We even have our best-selling bras. We've sold over 5 million units, wired and wireless. Women love it. It feels like you're wearing nothing, and it even evens you out if you have uneven breasts.
And that is why our viewers ask me all the time, when is Third Love coming back? Today's your day. And you've hooked us up. It's all 50% off, starts at $9.
Yep, I've never had trouble with a tricky fit, but I support. How about that?
There you go. You have toured with Alicia Keys, Rihanna, but you are all about the everyday woman who you specifically care about, the 40-plus ageless beauty.
Exactly. Shinta Sharif Beauty was created for ageless beauties 40-plus who are busy moms like me. I'm a mom to 6 kids. And so we have life-proof, waterproof products. We have our best-selling product, Thermal Blush, which actually is a pH color-changing blush. So it actually changes on every single person.
Really?
For their, yeah, we can try it on you right now. Look, it's going to be different on you, and look at what it'll look like on Tori. It's going to literally color adjust to be your perfect blush for your skin tone, and totally waterproof and long
Elena
wearing.
used it on me today.
It's an amazing
because
product.
every single makeup artist who I've ever met has said to me, we need these products here, because not only do they use them in their kit, but they recommend them to women to be able to make it work for them.
And they last all day long.
Waterproof
all day long.
And I'm 50 plus, so you got to stay looking good. Yeah,
exactly.
6 kids, you got to be busy, you got to look good.
And you've hooked us up because everything's 50% off, starting at $10.
Great deal.
We love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This one's one of my favorites. Thicker, fuller hair. Yes, please.
So during COVID, my hair was literally falling out in clumps, and I was inspired to create this line rooted in Ayurveda and cutting-edge science. This is our hero SKU. It's the density treatment. It's the reason I have my hair back. It reactivates dormant hair follicles to stimulate hair growth. And in our clinical studies, over 90% of women experienced hair growth, reduction in shedding in just 8 weeks.
It's an incredible line. You know what I was mentioning this morning? My daughter goes through all of the products that we have coming up in the morning, and she texts me. And this morning she texted me, Mom, this is a great one. She knows it from personal use.
Made my year.
So whether it is someone who's young in their 20s, somebody who's just given birth, menopause, at all the stages, hair loss is one of the most frustrating things that women deal with. And so this entire line, when you go online today, look for the blue bottle. The whole line today is slashed in half, starts at $15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's such a good one.
Well, you know what? Great deals, great job. I love how you all represent your products. Nothing better than the person who created them to talk about them. And you know what? We have more deals, okay? We have 2 more when we come back. So you don't go anywhere. We got you covered here with all these moms for our Mother's Day deals and steals. We'll be right back, everybody.
Welcome back to GMA, live from Times Square.
We're back now with 2 more deals from these incredible mom business owners. Tori, take it away.
We are starting here with Peach Skin Sheets. More than 50,000 5-star reviews.
Wow.
America loves Peach Skin. We love Peach Skin. Why are we so in love with this?
Well, Peach Skin Sheets is known for keeping hot sleepers cool and cool sleepers cozy. We've got 34 awesome colors, including the trending buttercream yellow. We also have Wicked-inspired colors like emerald green and the retro rose. And we've gotten 2 awards, Good Housekeeping as well as the Oprah Sleepo Award for Best Oversized Comforter. And of course,
we got the song.
Yeah, the Peachy Mink.
Nice.
Peachy Mink.
And you've hooked us up because everything today is slashed in half, so you'll save 50% on a good night's sleep.
Yeah, and by Christmas time, they're going to have men's robes.
That's right.
There you go. All right, Minky Couture, our favorite, absolute favorite blankets that Sandy you created because your daughter was sick. She needed something ultra cuddly. Then everybody wanted one.
Everyone wanted one. It was created out of love. It is the original Minky blanket that's large, comes in any size, from infant to 7 feet tall. And perfect. It's great for gift giving. And we have a charitable arm which gives mini Minkies to NICUs throughout the United States.
Wow.
And last year we gave 60,000 mini Minkies. This year our goal is 100,000 mini Minkies to these newborns in these NICU items.
We know what it's like in
these
the
are
hospital.
the coziest original Minky Couture blanket.
And you guys can help to enable them to meet that 100,000 by buying yours today. 55% off plus free shipping.
You can't beat that. You know, thank you all. Really.
You.
You know what? We partner with all of these companies on these great deals. You can get them on our website. And now I have to leave you all because I got to head over here to our next guest. He's so talented. I wish I could be him. He's a new member of the Star Wars universe. Yes. Benjamin Bratt, everybody. Benjamin is the new season. You're in the new season of Andor. Thank you for being here on GMA, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
What does it feel like to be a part of the Star Wars universe for the first time?
Listen, I start with gratitude. I mean, to have an invitation to join the best party in town is really remarkable. No, I'm thrilled to be here, man, honestly.
And you're there as Senator Bail Organa? Organa.
Yes,
So what
right.
can you tell us about him?
Well, let's start with, it's been more than 50 years that I was one of those welfare kids in San Francisco who was in line around the block at the Coronet Theater on Gary Boulevard in my hometown of San Francisco, waiting to experience this life-altering film as it was being described back then. And to be, thrown into a situation, half a century later where I'm actually playing within that Star Wars universe is mind-bending.
Can you remember seeing it the first time? You remember?
I do remember it, and I never forgot it. Every day I was on set, and joining the show was a little bit of a challenge because this is a series that's been running for 2 years. There are 2 seasons, and I came sort of at the last minute. It was a little bit like jumping off a bridge onto a boxcar of a moving train. So I don't know how I've landed yet, and I believe that to audiences to decide. But yeah, part of that challenge, George, was stepping into the shoes of Jimmy Smits, who originated the role of Senator Bail Organa, and we all know and love Jimmy. He's a legendary actor as far as I'm concerned, and the imprint and impression he made as Bail Organa, was daunting to say the least. But I had a great support system around me, really wonderful actors. The artisans on this set are just amazing. I mean, it's the Star Wars universe. What can I say?
What can you say?
Okay, you've whetted our appetite. Let's see a little bit of you in action right now.
I just can't go with you. Not yet.
So you'd be a hostage.
Let's hope not. Work on the speech and be very careful. Senator Tone found a listening device in her office. And tell no one. Be ready to leave the moment you're done. And be very careful.
Political intrigue.
I know the intrigue. You were talking about that because we're used to seeing Jimmy Smits in that role, as you said. So was it challenging for you at all?
It was, but at the end of the day, you have to return to what you know. And what I know is the instinct of acting. It's what I trained for. And so, for me, the unique challenge was, we talked about this earlier, kind of fitting within this parenthetical requirement to capture Jimmy's essence in the portrayal, but to also do something unique and new with it.
And make it your
make it my own.
Make it your own.
Self, yeah.
But inherent in the DNA of what Star Wars is, and all the stories that are associated with Star Wars, it really is about the endurance and the tenacity of the human spirit. And while within the Star Wars universe, you're painting on the broadest canvas ever. What's so special about Andor is that the stories are really about the people, about the characters, and the decisions they make, and what lies in the balance in terms of their personal fate and the larger collective fate based on those decisions.
That's fun as an actor, right?
So it's super deep, actually, and the artisans, as I said, they're unmatched. I mean, we shot in London, and George and I were talking earlier. I was shooting a film with a dear friend that we share in common, Brooke Shields, in Thailand at the same time. So I was going back and forth.
That's a commute.
So staying out of the sun was a challenge. There's no sun shining in intergalactic space. Well, there are many suns, but I didn't see any rays.
I want to switch gears to one of my favorite movies, Miss Congeniality, and the researcher was saying it's been 25 years.
Is it really?
How is that?
It's
still so fresh.
What has happened?
What is it about that movie, would you say, that scene is the best? Your face. She's fantastic. You're so good in the role. That movie endures. Why do you think?
I think it really endures because of Sandy and what she did with it. Of course, the writing is hilarious and the directing is brilliant, but Sandy is not afraid to to make a fool of herself, to be silly. And, you know, we all recognize, you know, the kind of foibles that her character goes through in ourselves, and it's fun to relate to someone like that. She, you know, she was a producer on the film, and she leads from the top. So if you start the workday with an essence of fun, then hopefully the result will fall into line.
We get that.
Yeah.
We get that.
We get that. And it's fun having you here, man.
Yeah,
we
love it.
appreciate you. Really appreciate you. And love what
And
you're
you're in the
doing.
family now, so come back.
Hey, yeah. Well, listen, I don't know if you guys heard, but there's going to be a Coco 2.
To the land of the dead. We got you. Yes, Coco 2 is coming as well. And if you can't wait till then, just check out Andor.
Yeah.
Okay? Season 2 is streaming now exclusively on Disney Plus. Benjamin Bratt, everybody.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and there's a smartphone app that could help people who are suffering. It is called White Flag. It's an anonymous way to find and connect with others who might share your struggles. And our senior national correspondent, Steve Osunsami, is in Atlanta with that story for us. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning to you, Robin. I'm going to begin by sharing something that you shared earlier during your Wednesday Wisdom, your motivations, and that is trying to find good ways to get through life's challenges. And the people we're about to meet say that they're using the technology to help them.
There they are, the top 5 of Miss Teen USA 2007.
Katie Upton is looking back on this moment at the Miss Teen USA beauty pageant nearly 20 years ago with new eyes this morning. The question in those final minutes was why so many Americans can't find their own country on a map.
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because...
And her answer was an example of what can happen when you're human and nervous and the world is watching.
I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. Or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries.
All of a sudden, people were laughing at her expense, while off stage, she says she was feeling alone in the world, quietly hiding a mountain of anxiety, unsupportive friends, and an abusive relationship.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. You know, don't
No, it takes a lot for me to cry, but...
Was that the lowest portion of your life, you would say, at this point?
Yes, absolutely. It was the lowest portion of my life, to the point to where I was considering taking my own life. And I did meet a couple times with a couple different people. Like, they were listening to me, but they weren't feeling me. And that's what White Flag can do for people today.
Today, she's a big supporter of smartphone apps for mental health and uses one called White Flag, a peer support group on the phone where mostly anonymous users are helped and healed by each other. In North America, more than 200,000 people have joined, raising their white flags, calling for help for everything from grief to divorce.
I want to make sure that everybody's abundantly clear on this, is White Flag is free. This is a free resource.
Johnny McCoy created it after he says he endured a lifetime of childhood trauma.
So I want someone to reach out to me. You hit, I want to raise my white flag.
Explaining that what helped him the most were group sessions with people who truly knew his pain.
I found that to be a miracle, Steve. I had gone through medication. I had gone through days of therapy a week. Once I realized that we could do this virtually and connect people from all over the country, I told my wife, I said, I have to do this. It's not just for people who are in crises.
One of the app's users is former TV bachelor Colton Underwood, who shares he once tried to take his own life before admitting to the world that he's attracted to men.
I wish I would have known about this service when I was in high school. I never wanted to raise my flag. I never wanted to signify to my family, to my friends, to my teammates, to my teachers that I wasn't okay. I always wanted to sort of project strength, and I didn't ever feel comfortable asking for help. And having this tool or this app in my pocket would have been a game changer for me.
Giovanna Doyle, a struggling musician in Maryland, uses it too and says it's not therapy, but says for her, it's therapeutic.
I didn't have any insurance to go to therapy. The fact that I can go on my phone and just, talk to someone and say, hey, I'm struggling really hard today. And I continue to use this app 2 years later.
Katie Upton is a 36-year-old mother today with 2 children and a loving partner in Arizona, and says she finds joy in helping people walking her path. She says she'll never forget a young woman who approached her one day in person, saying that she had planned to hurt herself.
She's in Charlotte now, and she is in accounting. So it just sorry, it touches me.
No.
That I was able to save somebody.
That has to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing it again.
I hope so. I really do. I really do.
The technology is giving us useful information about when people need help, what time of day, what time of year. Johnny McCoy says that his users are particularly busy around the holidays, and not just the winter ones. He says July 4th is busy with people who are online seeing their friends and family on vacations that they aren't on. He says that young mothers struggling with postpartum depression are usually active in the mornings. The key, they say, is connecting with someone who truly understands your struggle and being able to do so privately. Guys.
But Steve-O, thank you for not keeping this private. Do you know how many folks are going to be helped by this? Do you know, by sharing this morning, how many people this is going to reach, Steve-O?
Absolutely. And you know, the people who create this say that that's their goal. It's a free app. Their goal is to help people, to give people tools that they can use to help themselves.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for the shout out about my morning message. Appreciate that as well, Steve. You take good care of yourself. Coming up, that man right there, Bob Odenkirk, is going to talk with us. He's a Tony-nominated actor. Woo-hoo!
Back now with our friend Bob Odenkirk. We know him from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. Won Emmys for that. And now he's on Broadway in Glengarry Glen Ross. Welcome. Great to see you.
Yes.
Hey,
yeah,
great to be here.
And
Thanks for having me.
congratulations, Broadway debut, Tony nomination.
Crazy. It's crazy, man.
Must have
I can't
felt
believe
great.
it. It's really great. Really an amazing thing to be welcomed into the Broadway community this way. I mean, it really is a community, and this is something I didn't really know. But everyone sort of prepared me for it in the course of rehearsals. You're on Broadway, you're on Broadway, it's going to be great, you'll see. And then I realized now, doing it for a couple of weeks now, that everybody feels a part of this thing, and, including the audience.
Making the switch from TV and movies to this,
Yeah.
did it feel like a different job?
You know, yeah, I had these wonderful roles in TV, like Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, that have such depth to them and layers to them. So it's similar in that way. It is a version of that. You have a role, in my case, Shelley in Glengarry Glen Ross, that has a lot of sides to it. So every time you do it, you can make it fresh. You can lean one way or another, make it more comic, make it more tragic. And so it's similar to those roles in that way, but of course I do it every night, so every night's going to be different.
But do you have a pre-show ritual?
Well, I do.
Yeah?
I go to sleep. I sleep for like 20 minutes to an hour, and then I have my hour and a half before the show to get just focused on the show. It allows me to, make each show special and fresh, and like I'm just waking up to do that thing.
Because every audience is different. You can do the
Sure.
show.
Oh, and every audience is, you
Yeah.
sit there, and I'm behind the curtain in that opening act, and you're hearing the audience, and you just hear a different sound, quieter, more chatty, lively, really lively. And then over the course of the show, it evolves. Because I think this is probably the funniest version of this play, Glengarry Glen Ross, there could be. I mean, the story itself of it within the play is kind of grim. It's a bunch of salesmen, and they're kind of fighting each other to succeed and to keep their jobs. But with this group of people, and truly Mamet's writing has so many jokes in it, has so many funny turns in it, but this group digs all of them out and raises them up. Kieran Culkin's energy is incredible, and he's a fresh take on Ricky Roma. And then Bill Burr and Michael McKean have this scene in the first act. They're both comic legends, these two guys.
So what is the vibe backstage though? I mean, that's out front in front of the audience. What is the vibe backstage when you have those three guys? And Michael McKean, he played your brother in Better Call Saul.
That's right, he did. Yeah, so we're reunited in Glengarry on Broadway. Now it's great. I mean, it's funny, and there's a lot of music being played. Bill plays drums. I bring my guitar. Michael's a great singer, and Spinal Tap, and Kieran's just got incredible energy, and we're joking around and laughing, and usually I'm teasing Kieran about what I'm going to do. There's a section of the play that my character is doing a con with Kieran's character, but I'm being given a character to play within this piece, and every night I play him differently. I invent a different variation to make those guys laugh.
We only have a few seconds left. Anybody break on set?
Oh yeah, I've made them break. And then I almost made myself break because I couldn't get them to break. And I was being so stupid. And I made myself laugh. But I get John Piricello, and I think I got Kieran to break the other night. He's hard to crack.
He is, yeah. Thank you for coming in. Glengarry Glen Ross is on Broadway now at the Palace Theater.
You almost got caught.
I did.
Thank you for watching. That was great.